Assalamu alaikum. Our discourse today is on colonialism and Muslim response. Colonialism of Muslim countries has left lasting and significant marks on Islam and Islamic society, especially in Islamic education. Not only did colonialism call into question the domination of Islamic discourses in Muslim countries, it also imposed on these countries secular laws, modern state apparatuses, and Western type education. Because through the different centuries, for many centuries, we have our own curriculum, especially Muslims in throughout the world, throughout the Islamic world, not only in India, Indian subcontinent. We have Islamic education, but at the same time we call it. We have universities like Qarawin University, Al Azhar University. There are many universities in India, also in outside of Indian subcontinent also. But these all Islamic education were totally focused on our conventional, our own heritage, our own traditions. And after this European Enlightenment, European Renaissance, and this information revolution, and the discovery of scientific inventions, and this modern political philosophy, all education started to change, transform into, and these scholars, modern Muslim scholars, they started to adapt Western mode of education, Western mode of this syllabus, and they started to implement or apply Western thoughts in Muslim society, in Muslim education systems too. So these new idea, especially in educational field, they generated a number of dilemmas and challenges for Muslim society, Muslim community during this colonial period and afterwards also, because the colonialism actually did not start from British imperialism. We have many history of European or Western invasion in Muslim world, and when we discuss about as we sitting in the South India, we have to discuss about Portuguese invasion in Kerala that happened in 15th 16th century. So the Muslim response towards colonialism started from the 16th century in Indian subcontinent, and first the response of Muslims towards these colonials or invasions was totally military mode, and these Muslim scholars summoned or gathered Muslims and non-Muslims with one leadership, with the Hindu leadership, as we discussed before. He was a Hindu king, because I said about the Zainuddin Makhdum first and his grandson Zainuddin Makhdum second. They issued fatwa against this Portuguese invasion, and they wrote the books like Tahrir wa Tuhfatul Mujahideen, and they issued fatwa to gather Hindu under Hindu king and attack and resist and defend their own place against these Western or these Portuguese invaders at that time. So the colonialism started in Indian subcontinent, especially in southern part of India, in 15th 16th century. So the Muslim response was started from the fatwa, with inclusive fatwa, with the leadership of Hindu king and the conference of Hindus and Muslims under the Hindu king to attack this colonial power. So that was a totally Islam related factor, and Islam became the inspiration for resisting their own place, especially this Malabar region. So colonialism, I am saying about the colonialism that started from the 15th, 16th century, but now we are discussing about the colonialism, British colonialism, and in Arab world there was Italian and French colonialism also. From all these invasions, from all these colonialisms, the society had to change according to the invaders, according to the these dominant powers. When Napoleon Bonaparte attacked or conquered Egypt in the late 18th century, he applied the French ideas, or especially the Western ideas, particularly the French ideas on Egyptian society. And he initiated many modern tools like the print and other things. Afterwards, the governor Muhammad Ali Pasha, he sent many scholars to Paris, to the West, to learn and to get enlightened, and they started to translate Western works into Arabian field. So these ideas, especially socio-political and educational field, they were tremendous influence from the Westernization project and modernization project at that time. So education and socio-political scenario also had to be changed according to the dominant powers, like according to the like French, British, Italian colonials at that time. And through this colonialism, there were significant factors like key debates related to independence, state building, modernization, and the relationship between and integration of secular subject and religious subject, and the right way to reform Islamic school. There was a huge debate about what is the right way to reform the schools of Muslim society. Can we adopt the Western tools mode of education, or we just focus on our own conventional way by adapting them these Western ideas according to the fundamentals of Islam? That was a huge debate among Muslim scholars, among Muslim community at that time. Still, it is still going on now. So these ideas and the debate of independence, when these scholars started to debate of independence, they discuss about what will be happen after this independence, post independence era. What will be the status of Muslim society? What will be the what could be the status of the state of Muslims? Yeah, it could be a nation state or it could be a Muslim state under the Muslim leadership with the rules of Islamic regulations, or with modern ideology. After this colonialization period and after the decline of Usmania Khilafat, especially Usmania Khilafat, the nation state started to emerge among Muslim societies. There were many Muslim states established, came to exist at that time. So all the discussions at that time were connected to modern ideas like socialism, Marxism, and secularism. Most of the Muslim countries became socialist, nationalist, or secularist countries. Like Turkey became secularist countries. Extremist nationalist with French secularism. That was Turkey at that time. And Arabian countries like Iran, like Iraq, Syria, and many other countries became the leaders of socialist parties, became the founding fathers of new modern Arab states, nation state at that time. And still there were some kingdoms, but in the form of nation state. Like now, the constitutional monarchy in West Asia and North African countries like Morocco. Morocco is a constitutional monarchy, and Kuwait also is a constitutional monarchy. There is a parliament now, and Saudi Arabia also. Saudi Arabia also, it's a kingdom. It's a Mamlakat Saudi Arabia. But still, Saudi Arabia try to maintain some kind of democratic process in their political system. So all these Muslim countries try to adapt these modern tools for their own political system after this colonization process. At the same time, the Muslim scholars, they started to search for the socio-political solutions for the Muslim society, and we have to discuss about many scholars, like starting from Jamaluddin Afghani and Muhammad Abdu, Allama Iqbal from Indian subcontinent, Maulana Abulala Maududi from Indian subcontinent, and Rashid Rila. And there are many like Hassan al-Banna, Sayyid Qutub, Hassan Turabi. There were many scholars. They contemplated, they started to think for the solution for the challenges that were faced by Muslim society during the colonial period and afterwards also. So Jamaluddin Afghani and Muhammad Abdu, they were friends and they were mentor and students also at the same time. Jamaluddin Afghani actually advocated for Islamic University. Now it's known as Pan-Islamism. And Sultan Abdul Hamid II used this Jamaluddin Afghani for his own Pan-Islamic idea, means the Khilafat idea. And Muhammad Abdu, he actually most of the Islamic critic of this modernity, they named Muhammad Abdu as a father of Islamic modernism among Muslim society. This Muhammad Abdu tried to adapt modern ideas with Salafi theology. Muhammad Abdu is a Salafi scholar, and he's a scholar. He was a teacher of Al-Azhar University at that time. At the same time, Muhammad Abdu went to Paris and many other European countries, and there is a famous quote of Muhammad Abdu as he said that I saw Islam in Europe, but not Muslims, and I have seen Muslims in a Muslim world, but not Islam. It means actually he meant for the development and the principles of the society and the management of the society and their environment, and there are many modern concepts that was still existed in European society, but not Islam. And he said he have seen Muslims in Muslim society, but he could not see Islam there, because he meant the science, the development, the technology, all other modern tools. That was the meaning of that famous quote. So Muhammad Abdu and his student Rashid Rila was also Salafi scholar, and at the same time Rashid Rila consolidated the ideas of Muhammad Abdu in Egyptian society. So there is a specific term of Salafism, that is As-Salafiyya Tanwiriya, Enlightenment Salafis. That is As-Salafiyya Tanwiriya. It's totally related with Muhammad Abdu and Rashid Rila. And in Indian subcontinent, Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, he was the pioneer of Muslim modernism. He adopted Western ideas. He collaborated with British government for the sake of Muslim society. Actually, we have to consider that he collaborated with the British imperialism for the sake of the Muslim society, and he initiated many educational movements like Aligarh movement. There are many colleges, and he became the epicenter of Muslim education movements in India. And after that, Allama Iqbal also, Allama Iqbal, he discussed about the spiritual democracy and nationalism with Islamic framework, and there is a interesting work of deconstruction of Islamic thought, and many of his works are totally with modern ideas that must be followed by Muslim society. He discusses about all these ideas in Indian subcontinent, and of course Sayyid Abul Ala Maududi also. When Abul Ala Maududi started writing in the early period, his first book was Al Jihad fil Islam in his early 20s, in 24 years. He wrote his first book. This book, Allama Iqbal praised Maulana Maududi. Allama Iqbal said that if you want a thorough reading of jihad, you must read Jihad fil Islam of Maulana Maududi. Allama Iqbal said that. So this book was a refutal of these Western scholars and these modernist scholars also in Indian subcontinent. So Allama Iqbal, Allama Maududi, Abul Ala Maududi's works also, and his contribution towards Islamic philosophy, Islamic politics, and he presented Islam as a system. He said that Islam has an economic system, the socio-political system, and he presented a unique idea of theodemocracy. And he criticized Jahiliyats. We will discuss these old figures later in details, but I am just mentioning how Muslim scholars defended the community or Islam against the colonialist atmosphere at that time. So Maulana Maududi's Jahiliya concept, and he interpreted or he derived ayat from Quran, ideas from Quran and Hadith to defend Islam and Muslim society against British imperialism and westernization project among Muslim societies. And he, when we discuss about Islamic banking, Islamic financing system, we are compelled to read the works of Maulana Maududi too, because that is necessary. Because Maulana Maududi presented the Islam as an alternative to conventional economic system, and he presented the ideas of Islamic economic system too. And of course, we have to discuss about Al Ikhwan al Muslimun and its founding father Hassanul Banna, and he created a movement that generated well-versed Islamic scholars, well-versed organizers and leaders across the Arab world, even in West and Europe also. So Hassan al-Banna's movement, Al-Ikhwan al-Muslimun, was totally against British imperialism and Zionist project and this westernization, modernization project, and they created these scholars, these leaders and scholars generated and they produced huge amount of Islamic studies work against British, all type of invasions and colonialism at that time. And still these scholars they are contributing in Islamic studies field. And especially Sayyid Qutb also, Al-Adala al-Ijtima'iyya fil Islam, that is the famous work of Sayyid Qutb. In this work, Sayyid Qutb actually discussing with the contemporary scenario of the debate of discourse of justice, and he goes into the details of the justice in Islamic perspective, and he was a critic of European westernization project. And as we discussed before, the Sayyid Qutb, he totally vehemently criticized European ideas and they are implementing in the modern society, and he used the Jahiliya concept to elaborate the Western ideas and their influence in the Muslim society, especially in Egyptian society. And the famous tafsir of Sayyid Qutb, that is Fi Dhilal al-Quran. Fi Dhilal al-Quran is a unique tafsir. Sayyid Qutb was a writer. He has a huge background, a significant background of literary works in Egyptian society before he joined Ikhwan al-Muslimun. So, and he wrote about Tafsir al-Fanni fil Quran like other works. And after he joined Ikhwan al-Muslimun, he started to study Quran thoroughly. And he wrote a tafsir. The tafsir is totally related to faith and the community. Whenever he discusses about the community, he always connects the idea of Iman to the community, to the leadership. There is a significant important incident that happened in prophetic era, this early period of era, Islam. The Sahabi Rabi bin Amr al-Ansari, when he went to Rustam, there was a huge discussion between Rustam and this Rabi bin Amr. Rustam asked him, "Why did you come?" Then Rabi bin Amr replied to him that "Ibta'asana Allahu li ikhraj man yasha min ibadati al-ibadi ila ibadati Allahi wahda wa min jawri al-adyani ila adl al-Islam." وَمِنْ لِيقِ الدُّنْيَا إِلَى سَعَةِ الدُّنْيَا وَالْآخِرَةِ. This significant quote we can see in Fidil al-Quran in different pages. He was so happy to quote this incident in different ayat, in different interpretation of surahs, because it means the meaning of words ibta'asana Allahu li ikhraj man yasha min ibadati al-ibadi ila ibadati Allahi wahda. Rabi bin Amr Ansari replied to Rustam that Allah sent us to liberate the people from the slave owners to the Allah, to the Allah. Ibta'asana Allahu li ikhraj man yasha min ibadati al-ibadi. The slavery of slave to the slavery of the God. That was the first meaning. Li ikhraj wamin jawril adyani ila adil Islam. Rabi Abin said secondly that Allah sent us to liberate the people from the cruelty of all these systems, adyan, deens, to the justice of Islam. وَمِنْ لِيقِ الدُّنْيَا إِلَى سَعَةِ الدُّنْيَا وَالْآخِرَةِ. Allah sent us, God sent us to liberate the people from narrowness or rigidity of this world to the vastness or to the broadness of this world and Akhirah, hereafter also. That was the main idea of propagated by Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Rabi bin Amr, he quoted the idea in front of Rustam. So this incident can be seen in different pages Fidil al-Quran. So Sayyid Qutb's intention was to liberate the society from the slavery of this regime, of these authoritarian powers, or of this colonialism, or to liberate the society from all these new isms to Islam, to liberate the society, to invite the society to the vastness of Islam. That was the main intention of Sayyid Qutb's writing. And from all these discussions, there is another significant discussion also in Islamic studies in related to this modernity and colonialism. That was the emergence of Islamic movement. Then Jamaat Islami, Al-Ikhwan al-Muslimun. There are many Islamic movements that, and they called for socio-political reforms among the Muslim society. So then the these Western scholars and West-oriented Eastern scholars, they termed these Islamic movements as Islamist movements. So the discursive tradition of Islamism also started from this colonial period. And all I want to say that all these movements and all these scholars, they try to find out solutions for the modern problems that were faced by Muslim community during the colonial period and afterwards also. Thank you.